You.
I do have an amendment at the desk. The amendment number is 823321-1.
Amendment number 1.
Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So order.
I rise today to offer what I'm going to refer to as the Back to the Future Amendment. And the reason I make that reference is because this deals with transportation and our automobiles, but at the same time, this is a prospective amendment that basically rolls back the fees that we all pay starting in July 1, 2027, back to where they were before we did all of these raises. This is a very substantive amendment. I'm going to try to hold this up with one hand. This is the copies of the amendment, okay? And I think this is important because I'm going to showcase how many fees we raised in last year's session. For a Class A, this would roll them back from $80.50 to $50.50. If you're over 3,700 GVW, it goes from $151.50 to $76.50. For Class B, it goes from $180 back to $150. For Class C, it goes from $130 to $100. Class D, it goes from $65 to $35. Class E, $75 down to $63.75. And if you're a dump truck, from $10.80 down to $10.50. For Class F, it goes back from $154 to $124. For Class H, which is school buses, $81 to $51. $170 to $150 for non-school buses. And $81 to $51 for all other coaches. For Class J, it goes from $106 to $76. For historic tags, we go from $55 down to $25. For Class M, it goes from $80 to $50 and $151 to $76. I know we have some moped advocates here in the body. I'll be interested in that. For street rods, it goes from $55 to $25. And for Class Q, which is limos, it goes from $215 down to $185. Now, why did I read all those off? Every single tag for every single transportation device, whether you're going to work, whether you're riding in your limo, whether you're going to see your family, if you use transportation, if you own a vehicle or ride in a vehicle, your fees got raised, and in some cases, over 100%. That's significant. That touches every single person in this state. At a time when gas prices are spiraling out of control, when folks are struggling to make ends meet, they can't even afford to go to their places of employment if they're using an automobile or a bus or a coach or a van or a moped. I know that this hasn't been scored, and that's just a limitation of bill drafting and what we're working on here. But this is a significant amendment, and I'm asking for the body to pass a green vote on this to give a little bit of relief to our taxpayers and allow for these to roll back to where they were previous to raising them. So with that, I move the amendment.
By saying aye. Opposed, no. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, explain my vote.
Recognizing the maker of the amendment, the gentleman from Cecil County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
This is a significant issue. We wonder why we're having folks register their vehicles out of state in Virginia and try to skirt the laws. We wonder why people are getting pulled over and getting ticketing, have to go to court and losing their license because they can't pay for that little sticker that goes on the tag of their vehicle. We've all seen it, people with expired tags, expired registration running around. We wonder why we're taking $150 million of the $250 that was just described and sending it to WMATA, okay? That's why I'm putting up a green vote on this amendment. Our folks need some relief. This is something that everyone has to pay via 1 or 2 years. And I know families that are only renewing their vehicle and sometimes late for 1 year because that's all they can afford. We're having to do payment plans for vehicle registration. Please put up a green vote. Let's get some relief now to our taxpayers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So, has everyone recorded their vote? The clerk would take the call.